Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into something that's really changing the game in training.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's Ellen Reality's new AI-powered assistant.
Okay.
It's called EON Agent.
Interesting.
And you know how traditional training can be, like death by PowerPoint or outdated videos?
Right.
Well, EON Agent is promising something way more immersive and way more effective.
I see.
Think VR and AR, but with like a personal AI tutor that is guiding you every step of the way.
So what's really cool about this is that EON Reality is not just some, new startup.
Right.
They've actually been leaders in the AR and VR space for over 25 years.
Ah,
They have millions of users globally, and that experience means they really understand what the challenges of training are
yeah,
and are well positioned to actually tackle them with EON Agent.
that makes sense.
Ah,
Okay, so let's paint the picture for our listener. You're in this virtual environment.
right.
Maybe it's a factory floor, surgical suite, or even ancient Rome.
Wow.
What makes EON Agent so different from just regular VR training?
It's the level of personalization and interactivity that EON Agent brings.
Okay.
Imagine being able to talk to your virtual tutor, ask questions, and get real-time feedback.
Okay, yeah.
And it's not just responding to your words, it's actually understanding your actions and your progress, and it's adapting the difficulty or providing hints accordingly. It's like having a real expert by your side.
That's really interesting. That's a huge leap from those pre-scripted VR demos that you sometimes see.
Yeah.
But how does it actually work? Does someone have to design every possible interaction beforehand?
Not at all.
Okay.
That's where the AI-powered part really shines.
Okay.
EON Agent actually uses natural language processing, or NLP,
Right.
to turn text descriptions into full-fledged ARVR training scenarios.
So cool.
So think of it like this. You type in a simple explanation of what you want someone to learn, let's say how to assemble a complex piece of machinery,
Yeah.
and EON Agent takes it from there, building the virtual environment, the tasks, and even the guidance that the learner will receive.
So you don't need coding skills or a team of designers to create these immersive training programs.
Exactly.
That's incredibly accessible.
Yeah, and it's a huge win because the need for effective training is only growing.
Right.
Technology is evolving so rapidly that traditional methods just can't keep up.
It's true.
EON Agent has the potential to help businesses, schools, even governments
Yeah.
prepare people for the skills they need in this fast-changing world.
I love it. Speaking of skills, let's dive into some of the cool things EON Agent can do within these virtual training scenarios.
Okay.
What can it do?
One of the most game-changing features is its ability to adapt in real time to how the learner is doing.
Okay, so give me an example.
Let's say you are struggling with a particular step in a virtual lab experiment.
Right.
EON Agent might slow things down, offer step-by-step guidance, or even suggest that you revisit some foundational concepts before moving on.
It's like having a tutor who knows exactly when to challenge you
Yeah.
and when to offer a helping hand.
Right.
But what if you're breezing through the material? Does it just get boring?
Not at all.
Okay.
In that case, EON Agent might introduce more complex scenarios, ask you to solve problems in different ways, or even have you teach the concept to a virtual peer, which actually helps reinforce your own understanding.
That's so smart.
Yeah.
So it keeps learners engaged and challenged no matter their skill level.
Exactly.
I'm seeing why people are calling this a paradigm shift in training.
It's not just about the AI's ability to adapt, though.
Okay.
EON Agent also allows for more natural, intuitive interaction. It goes beyond just clicking buttons.
Yeah.
Learners can use their voice, type commands, or even use hand gestures
Wow.
to manipulate objects and interact with the virtual environment.
That sounds so much more immersive than staring at a screen.
Definitely.
But what about the practical stuff?
Yeah.
Can EON Agent handle real-world tasks within these training scenarios?
Absolutely.
Like what?
So it can manage things like scheduling follow-up assessments, logging your progress, and even coordinating physical resources needed for the training.
Okay.
For example, imagine you're learning to operate a complex piece of equipment in VR.
Right.
EON Agent could automatically schedule a hands-on session with the actual machine once you've mastered the virtual version.
That's seamless integration. It really blurs the lines between the virtual and physical worlds.
Yeah.
This is so much more than just a training tool.
It is. It's more like a collaborative learning partner
Yeah.
that helps you acquire skills in a way that's engaging, efficient, and truly personalized.
Okay, I'm officially hooked, but I know our listeners are probably wondering, this sounds incredible, but how is it actually being used in the real world?
Right.
So let's move on to explore some specific use cases and the impact that EON Agent is already having across various industries.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so let's start with education, where EON Agent has the potential to really transform classrooms as we know them.
I like it.
Imagine students learning about anatomy,
Yeah.
not from textbooks,
Oh.
but by actually walking through a 3D model of the human heart,
Oh.
guided by an AI tutor who adjusts the complexity based on each student's understanding.
So it's like taking those old plastic anatomy models
Right.
and bringing them to life in a way that is interactive and personalized.
Exactly.
That's a far cry from the listen and repeat style of learning many of us grew up with.
Yeah, and it's not just about making learning more engaging.
Right.
It's about making it more effective.
Okay.
There's early data from Los Angeles Community College where they've been using similar XR technology,
Okay.
and they show a significant increase in learning outcomes.
What kind of increase are we talking
A
about?
79% jump.
Wow, 79%
And
learning outcome.
That's huge. And that's without the personalized guidance that EON Agent brings to the table.
Those are some impressive numbers. So it's not just hype. There's real evidence to suggest that this type of immersive learning combined with AI could have a significant impact.
Absolutely. And the applications go way beyond the classroom.
Like what?
Think about corporate training.
Yeah.
For
Okay.
example, onboarding new employees, teaching complex procedures, or even upskilling a workforce.
Yeah.
All of that can be done much more efficiently and effectively with EON Agent.
Can you give our listeners a concrete example of how a company might use EON Agent for training?
Sure, imagine you're a company like SBS Transit in Singapore.
Okay.
They used XR technology to train their technicians,
Okay.
and it dramatically reduced their training time.
How much are we talking?
We're talking about cutting a 12-month training program down to just 4 months.
Wow, a 66% reduction in training time.
Yeah.
That's a huge cost saving for the company, not to mention the time saved for the employees.
Exactly. And with EON Agent's real-time feedback and adaptive learning capabilities, companies can ensure that their employees not only learn faster, but they retain the information better.
That's key.
This leads to a more competent and confident workforce.
You mentioned healthcare earlier,
Yes.
and I'm really curious about how EON Agent can be used in that field.
Yeah,
The stakes are so high in healthcare.
of course.
Any improvement in training can potentially save lives.
Absolutely.
So how can it be used?
Think about surgeons practicing complex procedures in a safe, virtual environment before ever stepping foot in an operating room.
Right.
EON Agent can guide them through every step, provide feedback on their technique, and even simulate unexpected complications that might arise during surgery.
So it's like having a personalized training simulation.
Yeah.
That's tailored to the specific procedure and the surgeon's skill level.
Right.
That's got to be a game changer for surgical training.
And it's not just limited to surgeons.
Okay.
Nurses can perfect their CPR techniques, medical students can learn anatomy in a much more interactive way, and even patients can use EON Agent to better understand their own medical conditions and treatment options.
So it's impacting healthcare from multiple angles.
Yeah.
It's not just about training professionals, it's about empowering patients as well.
Exactly, and we're just scratching the surface here.
Yeah.
The potential applications for EON Agent are vast.
In what other industries?
Manufacturing, logistics, retail, even aerospace, and public safety.
Wow.
Virtually any industry that requires training can benefit from this technology.
Sounds like EON Agent is having a global impact. Is it accessible to people all over the world?
It's designed to be. It
Yeah.
works across different languages and devices and can even be customized for different cultures and regions.
Wow.
In fact, the National Skills Development Corporation in India is planning to use it to train a massive number of people.
How many are we talking about?
They're aiming to train 400 million learners using EON Agent.
That's incredible.
It is.
This technology has the potential to democratize learning on a massive scale.
It really does.
Okay, so let's say someone listening to this is thinking, this sounds amazing. I want to bring EON Agent to my organization. What's the first step?
The implementation process is actually pretty straightforward.
Okay.
EON Reality has a clear roadmap for success,
All right.
and it starts with identifying your specific training goals.
So figure out what you want to train people on,
Right.
whether it's operating machinery, performing surgery, or even learning a new language.
Exactly. Then you assess your current tech setup,
Okay.
hardware and software,
Yep.
to make sure it's compatible with EON Agent.
Okay.
After that, it's a good idea to run a pilot program,
Yeah.
test it out with a small group, and get feedback.
So dip your toes in the water
Hmm.
before diving headfirst into a full-scale implementation.
Precisely. Once you have that pilot up and running,
Yeah.
You can customize the content, data feeds, and other features to perfectly match your organization's needs.
So there's a lot of flexibility in how EON Agent can be tailored to different situations.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And EON Reality provides ongoing support throughout the process.
Okay.
So you're never left on your own to figure things out.
That's great to hear. Now, we've talked a lot about the potential of EON Agent, but I want to bring it back to our listeners.
Right.
Why should they care about this? What's the big takeaway for them?
I think the key takeaway is this.
Okay.
EON Agent represents a fundamental shift from passive learning to active, engaging, and personalized training experiences.
Yeah.
It's not just about acquiring information.
Yeah.
It's about developing real-world skills in a way that's both efficient and enjoyable.
It's about moving beyond one-size-fits-all training programs and embracing a future where learning is tailored to individual needs and preferences.
Exactly. And it's not just about the individual. It's about the collective benefit.
Okay.
A more skilled and adaptable workforce leads to a more innovative and competitive society as a whole.
Okay, so we've explored the capabilities of EON Agent, its impact across industries, and how it's changing the way we think about learning and training. But before we wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with something to ponder. Imagine a world where learning is not just efficient, but truly engaging and tailored to your individual needs. What possibilities does that unlock for you, for your career, for your life?
That's a powerful question to consider, and if any of our listeners are eager to learn more about EON Agent, I encourage them to check out EON Reality's website.
Okay.
They have a wealth of information, including case studies and white papers that dive deeper into this exciting technology.
That's a great resource.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. We've explored the potential of EON Agents, delved into some of the challenges, and hopefully left our listeners with a lot to think about.
I agree. It's been a fascinating conversation, and I think the key takeaway for our listeners is this.
Yeah.
We're on the verge of a major shift in how we learn and train. AI-powered platforms like EON Agent are leading the way, and it's up to us to embrace these advancements responsibly and thoughtfully.
Beautifully said. So to our listeners, if you're curious about the future of learning, if you're excited about the possibilities of AI to transform education and training, I encourage you to dive deeper into the world of EON Agent. It might just change the way you think about learning forever.
And on that note, I think it's time for us to wrap up this deep dive.
Agreed. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of EON Agent. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and embrace the future.
See you on our next deep dive.
It really does feel like we're on the cusp of like a major transformation in how we learn and train.
Yeah, it's an exciting time to be witnessing this evolution, especially with tools like EON Agent that make sophisticated technology accessible and applicable to so many fields.
And what I find so fascinating about this is that it's not just about efficiency.
Right.
EON Agent seems to address like a core issue
Yeah.
with traditional training,
What is that?
lack of engagement.
Yeah, that's a critical point.
Yeah.
You know, even with the best content, if people aren't motivated to learn,
Yeah.
it's all for naught. EON Agent's approach with its immersive environments and adaptive challenges feels almost like a game.
Yeah, it's gamification done right,
Yeah.
making the learning process enjoyable without sacrificing the depth of the knowledge and skills that are being developed.
Right, but let's get real for a second. You know, there are always challenges when implementing new technology, especially something as cutting edge as EON Agent.
Of course.
What are some of the hurdles that organizations might face?
Yeah. What do you think?
I think one challenge is definitely getting buy-in from stakeholders.
Right.
People can be resistant to change, especially when it comes to like overhauling something as fundamental as training.
Yeah.
So demonstrating the value proposition
Right?
is key, and thankfully, EON Reality has done a good job of that.
You're referring to those PwC studies we mentioned earlier, the ones showing significant improvements in training, speed retention, and cost savings.
Exactly. Those numbers are compelling, especially for decision makers who need to see a clear return on investment. But beyond like the immediate ROI, it's important to highlight the long-term benefits.
Right.
Investing in a platform like EON Agent is about building a more agile, skilled, and future-ready workforce.
Yeah, it's an investment in human potential, really,
It is.
giving people the tools and opportunities to learn and grow in ways that weren't possible before.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
They have.
We've explored the potential of EON Agent. We've delved into some of the challenges and hopefully left our listeners with a lot to think about.
I agree. It's been a fascinating conversation, and I hope our listeners are as intrigued by the possibilities of AI-powered learning as we are.
I have a feeling they are so. to our listeners, if you're curious about the future of learning, if you're excited by the potential of AI to transform education and training, I encourage you to explore EON Agent further. You can find more information on EON Reality's website. It might just change the way you think about learning forever.
And on that note, I think it's time for us to wrap up this deep dive.
Agreed. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of EON Agent. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and embrace the future.
See you on our next deep dive.